Hey, welcome back to another episode of these crazy fools that keep mega dosing and can't stop talking about it. Today, our topic is vitamin B1. So, trying to shed a little light on why supplements sometimes help. I know I spent a lot of time bad mouthing supplements and just about anything in a capsule. So, to even the playing field a little bit, I brought on a couple of my good friends here to tell about their experiences and how supplements can actually help you compensate for some long acquired deficits. So, today we're talking about vitamin B1 and thiamine and the potential for mega dosing this vitamin. So, who wants to get us started? Corina,
Yeah,
Ayani.
okay. I can read the quote
All right.
first. That's from Dr. Derek Lonesdale and Dr. Chandler Mars. Thiamine deficiency disease, dysautonomia, and higher calorie malnutrition. Why the megadose? So the quote, although the necessity for using megadoses is unknown, we believe that the activity of the enzymes that depend on thiamine gradually deteriorate with long-term malnutrition, and the cofactor is used to restore that activity by its stimulation. From clinical experience, there is no doubt that physiological doses, which means low doses, are useless. When there is no clinical response to low dose, a physician may be misled into thinking that the proposed diagnosis of deficiency is wrong and ascribe the symptoms to other causes. The potential role of megadose thiamine in diabetes is an emerging clinical benefit that needs further research. So that would explain the megadose. It's not in um, because you have a deficiency in that sense, but to um, basically kick the enzymes back into action because they have been dormant if you have been vegan or vegetarian for a long time. Then, yeah, it's just not working properly anymore. So you need to take megadoses, which means 1,500 milligrams up to 2,000 milligrams thiamine per day. And you need to do that for a very long time until you see some changes.
Hmm.
So,
And this is something that's often brought about by people being on a diet that's deficient in vitamin B1, or, in the case of, people who drink like tea, coffee, alcohol for long periods of time, it can actually deplete your B1 levels, right?
yeah, especially the alcohol and caffeine too, but alcohol is one of the uh, triggers. Yeah.
I've heard that. I was talking to a doctor friend one long time ago, and he was saying that that's one of the first things they do when they get an alcoholic in the hospital who's really not feeling well, really run down, is they give them IV thiamine, I think he said, because they tend to be very depleted in it. So it's like kind of like a first line treatment. I think they actually just assume that they're depleted. So they start
Mm.
giving it to them to help them out. So.
I think
Mm.
they should do that for everyone that ends up in the hospital.
Actually, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it's interesting because B12 we hear about all the time, right? Isn't it B12 that get a
yeah.
B12 shot and you feel great?
B6, B12, yeah.
But nobody's talking about thiamine, and thiamine has a big influence on all those other things, and that's why it's so important. And doctors also, they just dismiss the thiamine, how important it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, so there's plenty of thiamine in B1 or B1 in meat for most people, but it may not be enough for people who had a long-term depletion in their enzymes, and enzymatic action is no longer active, right? That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, because also I was eating so many eggs, I still do, and yeah, it appears that it wasn't enough. Really, I mean, what else can you do? So you have to kind of give in and supplement and try this approach if other approaches don't work. Yeah, so I've been trying it for about maybe 6 weeks now, and the first thing that I realized, it was the fatigue, that underlying fatigue kind of went away. And then the second thing I noticed was the hearing sensitivity. Like you call that misophonia if you get angry, when people make sounds, when they smack their lips or cough or just breathe and you get angry. That's called misophonia. And
You're
then
breathing too loud.
Yeah.
Save some oxygen for the rest of us, you jerk.
Yeah. So you really get angry, or it's just painful. It's really painful, and you cannot tune it out, and you get distracted by it. And then just 2 days ago, I had another session with neurofeedback. This I started doing for the PTSD, trauma, and also migraines. And that was about the third session, I would say. And then the first time when I went there, there was noise in the other room. It was so distracting, and I kept focusing on the noise instead of the screen in front of me. So now 2 days ago, there was even more noise from the other room. There is a physiotherapist working with somebody. You could hear the person jumping, and normally that would have really angered me. Like I would have been so annoyed at that noise and distracted. And this time I could just completely tune it out, like nothing, and focus on the screen. And I would not even be disturbed by that noise. And that was interesting. And I think that's really the thiamine,
That's
because I have
interesting.
not changed anything else.
I wonder
What else
how
do?
much misophonia or something like that plays a role in the world of autistic people who get triggered by noises or sounds, right?
Yeah, I'm sure many have it. Like hyperacusis is the other one, when you are really sensitive, and then you feel pain literally when you hear certain sounds, especially the high pitched sounds. And I mean, if you can treat that with high dose of thiamine, that's would be great. And I wonder if everybody should just try this approach.
Well, it seems like a benign enough treatment, right? Because thiamine is very safe to consume, right? As far as we know, there's you're not going to experience negative side effects or get poisoned from it. So
No,
why
not at
not?
all. There's not really a danger in taking megadoses. That's the good
Yeah.
thing.
So that's
I, I,
interesting. That might be very helpful for people out there battling problems like
Mm.
this.
I really liked how in what you read, it talked about malnutrition. I know we've covered before, but eating a standard American diet or a vegan diet or what have you, high carb diet.
High carb diet, that's the problem.
Right. Because oldest focus on calories and not really focused on nutrients. And even the vegans that focus on nutrients, they're missing half the picture because they're only getting 40% plus all the toxins, So it's like you out there, unless you're possibly high fat, keto, carnivore, more on our side, can actually say that you're getting enough nutrition of anything, and so trying to play catch up, like even making the change, and that helps a lot. But it seems to be that with B1 especially, and this could be possible for other minerals and vitamins, and it could be possible why people notice improvement not just within the first 6 months of being carnivore, but years after being carnivore. It could be possible that you have many minerals and nutrients that are finally starting to hit levels consistently enough to where people feel better and their ailments dissipate.
Yeah, especially if you have been a vegan or vegetarian. It takes time until the body can recover from that malnutrition. So that's why I think that carnivore is good for. It can help you definitely, but then sometimes you have to do more because you have damaged your body through this deficient diet so much that your body just can't catch up with only meat. It needs just another tool to work properly.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable expectation, because a lot of us already been on the wrong diet for decades before we found something that worked better. And so not every little thing that we've damaged over those decades is going to instantly heal itself. Sometimes you need a little extra, right? Yep. Well, anything else to add about thiamine? Anybody? I mean, I decided to give it a try too. I drank a lot of coffee. I drank my fair share of alcohol in the past. I mean, when I was younger, we drank beer every opportunity there was. It's like every weekend after work, frequently. It's like, oh yeah, let's go have a beer or whatever. I don't drink beer anymore or anything, but I occasionally indulge in other adult beverages. Lord knows I drank a lot of coffee and sometimes tea. So who knows what else? And of course, all the other crappy food I used to eat. So I thought, well, why not? I'll give it a try. I'll take some vitamin B1 for a while and see if it makes a difference. So, and I did notice that I did seem to have a higher level of energy. So,
that
I thought
makes
that was
sense.
interesting. Go ahead.
And how much are you taking, Tom, a day?
I usually take at least 1,000 milligrams, and so I was trying to take it in 2 doses. So I took a bottle to work, and then I got a bottle at home, and so I try to remember to take a second dose while I'm at the office, which would put me, I think that would be another 1,000 milligrams. So I get anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 a day right now. Just a little experiment. So.
I've been doing about 1,000 for, about as long as you, I think, maybe 2 months, I guess. And I noticed a difference right away, and I still notice a difference. I'm just doing 1,000. That seems to work for me.
Oh, that's good.
And I like it. I think it is something that people should consider, and like we talked about earlier, it's cheap and there's almost no risk. You know, you can always stop buying it or whatever, you know. Of course, you know, the thing with supplements and being carnivore is, of course, you want to look for the cleanest manufacturer that you can find of the B1. And then just a shout out, of course, for the guy that I think both, Corina, you turned me and Tom onto B1, but Elliot Overton, highly recommend his work. You know, there's a couple 1-hour interviews with him, or maybe even more, talking about B1, and he really runs through it. You know, even if you're, you know, it might even be one of those things that could help people with transitioning from a high carb diet or whatever standard American diet to a carnivore diet. You know, people struggling with some of those sugar cravings, or struggling with some of that fatigue or headaches, or, you know, those transition symptoms. Maybe throwing in B1 might be a good recommendation for a person starting out on a carnivore or a keto diet. We don't know, you know, that's for the audience, hopefully people that see this, if anyone wants to try it. If you just so happen to be, you know, carnivore curious and B1 curious at the same time, I'd say, you know, stack them. I don't see any harm. You know, it would probably make the transition a little easier. At least that's my hypothesis.
Yeah, because it supports the mitochondria. And if the mitochondria work properly, then of course you will have more energy.
Yeah, it seems like more and more what we're starting to understand is that a lot of modern disease is based in mitochondrial function or dysfunction, right? So, you know, like Thomas Seyfried's made a pretty compelling argument and done a lot of research on cancer as a metabolic disease, and it really comes down to damaging mitochondria that seems to cause quite a number of cancers. And of course, when we get into other aspects of metabolism, it seems like it's mitochondrial dysfunction from the wrong fuel supply that's exacerbating everything from mental illness to arthritis to all kinds of other conditions, you know, obesity and heart disease and everything else. So,
and recently I just learned about a study with Parkinson. So, you know, they have the similar symptoms like beriberi. Like there was a study with Thiamin. So,
interesting.
yeah, there are many such diseases that can profit from megadose Thiamin treatment.
Very well then. So we wrap this one up?
Sounds pretty good. Nice
We'll
little.
get another video in soon.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks everybody for listening in. We hope this helped somebody out there. Make sure and send a link for this video to somebody else who might help, and leave us your comments. Give us the old thumbs up. Make sure you stay subscribed. Click the bell so you get alerts when videos come out. Eat some meat, feel better, and whatever you do,
don't fall down the carb hole, and eat your B1.